What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to our Impact on AXS TV review, weekly review. Nigeria Miranda here, as always, and we're ready to break down tonight's episode, November 3rd of Impact Wrestling. Miranda, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing really well. Definitely have a lot to talk about with tonight's show. We had some great wrestling, some shenanigans. We are now 2 weeks from Turning Point, which is going to be an Impact Plus exclusive. So the world keeps on spinning. Things keep happening, even though we're just out of the woods from Bound for Glory. Josh Matthews mentioned it tonight on commentary that, hey, through the next year, as soon as we know it, we'll be in Bound for Glory 2021. So I know that's a lot to think about. I know we're just here to review tonight.
Yeah.
But blame Josh Matthews because he was already on the fast track for next year's Bound for Glory. So.
Oh man, so true, so true. It is election day, so hopefully you all did do your civic duty today and voted. Now that I got that out the way, because apparently that's a disclaimer that all adults need to tell other adults. But Here we are.
First we do adulting, then wrestling. That's how it goes.
100%. Or maybe it's just all the same thing, depending on who you ask. It's real to us, damn it.
Yep.
But I think we have to start at something that's very important, and I definitely want to premise this by saying that us over here at BGB Podcast and Media, along with the Chairshot.com, like Kylie Ray, which is obviously a person we've been talking about as far as with Impact over the last couple of months, ever since she signed. And then some news came out on her Patreon officially, so not through the dirt sheets or anything of that sort, that she is taking not only a step back from wrestling, but out of wrestling. She now doesn't claim herself to be a wrestler. So with that being said, I definitely on behalf of everybody involved here on the show that we absolutely wish her the best in her journey, whatever that may entail. This is something, personal to her. She handles herself in a professional way, in a personal way. We're not here to speculate anything. We do talk very, very much about Kylie Ray, the character, in terms of Impact. But her as the person here, we definitely want to make sure we give our love and blessings to her in the journeys up ahead, as, whatever that entails for her. Not here to speculate on anything, but we're just giving her her best. And we, of course, would love to see her back in the ring. But if we never were to see her back in the ring, she again said that she is not a wrestler right now. Absolutely one of my favorites. I tweeted it. Her smile brightens up any room, in any crowd, in any state, in any promotion. And it's just a person that, the ring work that you just won't, you can't forget. Like the character and everything. She leaves a print wherever she goes. But as the person, again, just our love and support as she does what she feels is necessary to better herself.
Absolutely agreed. I mean, it's a loss for Impact. It's a loss for us as wrestling fans. She truly brought smiles to our faces. She made us kind of relive, childhood memories and dreams. Every time she was in the ring, you could see how happy that she was. And, with life, things, aren't always easy, and we all have challenging dynamics with our work. You think about it, we struggle with lots of aspects of having a personal life and a work life, and wrestling blends those two together so often that it's very challenging sometimes to take some time away from both in order to do what's best for you. And absolutely agree that I hope that she has all the time that she needs in order to make a decision as to what she wants to do next and where that is. But the impact that she made in her short time with Impact, and honestly, no puns intended, but that's really the right word for this case, is that she really helped grow this division into, what it is now. She had some fantastic matches and great dynamics with others on the roster. And that's, what we'll remember her for, that work. And we hope to see her one day, but if not, everything that she did in this short amount of time, left a really amazing impression, and I think made fans of a lot of us, especially those who may not have been familiar with her work prior. So, always hope for the best. And thank you for all of it.
Absolutely. Now let's get into tonight's show. Now, also, I definitely want to note too that not only is Impact on AXS TV at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but it's also at Free Sports over in the UK at 10 p.m. As we forgot that deal. Well, we haven't forgot, but we just haven't we haven't mentioned that because of that deal of recently too. Now that the UK is getting some Impact of their own every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. So tonight we're starting off this show with the rematch of Su Yung and Deonna Purrazzo after all the shenanigans from last week. I am officially here to say that I hate rematches.
Well, sudden rematches. I mean, this wasn't too sudden because it's been a week since we had the confrontation and Deonna's lawyer coming out. I just probably feel like this wasn't. We'll talk about it. It sets up things for the future. But did they really need to do it this way? Nah, you could have absolutely just X the match out. You could have done something else, and you could have set up what you set up in the future. But to me, I don't know. This match wasn't necessary in order to set up what they're setting up for a turning point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it did nothing for me. Here's how I look at it. If you got two of the top elites in any division, anytime they clash, it's supposed to be a A1 caliber match. I mean, I can always equate it to to football. If you have the two people that last played in the Super Bowl, if they somehow have a rematch within the next season, it's always marked as the big game because everyone knows it's going to deliver. And 9 times out of 10 they do. And the reason why I hate rematches is because you put on an A performance at the pay-per-view, and then you do it on the Tuesday night, and it's like 1/4 of the quality, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like at any given day, it's the idea of when you see Deonna in a match, it's going to be an A tier match. If you see the champion, whoever it is, A tier match. 2 A tiers deserves an A tier match.
Yeah,
not some rushed whatever happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they set it up since Deonna got to the company, so she's been part of the Knockouts division where she doesn't have matches very often, and she hasn't needed to. That she's had matches more sparingly. And now we get accustomed to seeing maybe somewhat of a throwaway match that loses some of that aura of Deonna Purrazzo. And even same thing with Su Yung. I mean, we haven't seen her in quite a while. And the fact that we've only seen her in one other match at Bound for Glory, you have two people that you set up with this aura and mystery for very different reasons, but you set it up just in their character that they don't have throwaway matches. But then when you start putting together throwaway matches, it kind of negates everything that you've been doing. So, don't book yourself into a corner, but continue with, what you've done for both so far is that they don't get in the ring until they need to get in the ring.
Exactly. Well said. That's exactly every bit of the point that I'm trying to make. It just doesn't make sense to me. And, especially when you have the idea of you're opening up the show with it, then set the tone for the show. You got a rematch, then let it be a banger. It's like when you have the main event, you always can guarantee that the main event is going to be a solid match, given the good amount of time, whatever it may be. But I would also assume that every time there's a rematch, you're also going to give that same respect to it, and it's in regards to booking. And it just wasn't that. And I love Su Yung. I mean, every time Su Yung does anything, I just pop crazy. And this rivalry is clearly going to be something down the line that's just going to keep getting better and better. As again, we're I'm about to say 14 days. We are a certain amount of days. Well, whenever, no matter how, whatever the amount of days of November 14th, we do got the rematch I'm
Yeah,
trying to think
about
of
what?
who
No,
that.
today's the
Who
third,
did
so
that?
like 11
11
days. But
days,
yeah,
yeah.
11 days, more or less. But I mean, all this match did was set up the stipulation for a no disqualification match at Turning Point, which again
Yeah.
you could have done without having this match. Deonna Purrazzo won uh, from DQ. As a result of a DQ, but she wasn't happy with that because she wanted her title. So she
Yeah.
wants a no disqualification match. Her lawyer went to, Impact Management, Scott D'Amore, who is continuously, he's funnier and funnier
Thank
every
you.
week.
Thank you.
Like,
Yep.
funnier and funnier, I have to admit.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so the match was set. But again, you could have done this in another way where they weren't in a match and you keep them separated for a few more weeks. So, again, the rematch is set for Turning Point. It is a no disqualification match, but there could have been some other ways to get this where you build up the anticipation instead of start your show with a throwaway match with two extremely talented wrestlers.
Two things I'll say. Number one, I mean, the one thing about them doing this extra match, the one thing about them setting up this match for Turning Point is good for Impact Plus for now having exclusive content. So I get the purpose there, but it still shouldn't have had nothing to do with tonight and them having this rematch. They definitely could set up another way. You still got another week or so to do something, and this was just rushed, and it just felt ill-advised to me. Like the match did nothing. And number two, let's just put Scott D'Amore over really quick. Scott D'Amore has been consistently the best character, one of the best characters on Impact weekly television each and every week. I mean, he's not the swing man, but he's getting there with me.
I mean, his humor is really dry and sarcastic, and anyone who just can have an appreciation of that will have an appreciation of Scott D'Amore. The way that the show really started off with Tommy Dreamer and his investigation of the shooting of Johnny Bravo, and Scott D'Amore just like, what the hell is this? Like, what? What the hell are you doing? Like, just that definitely, he is somewhat of a voice of reason in this, and add some continuity too to storytelling that we don't always get. That there's sometimes pieces missing or things that are just so ridiculous that as a fan you're like, what in the hell are they doing? Scott D'Amore is that voice on top of being an authority figure that carries weight, that actually helps tell stories as well. So I think they're doing a really good job with him, and it's been piece by piece. It started off slow too, so I could appreciate that they didn't just throw him in there. It's been a slow build, and he's definitely one of the better parts of the show over the past few weeks.
Absolutely. But again, when you talk about who shot Johnny Bravo, I mean, it is Russell House shenanigans. So good. As I want it.
You got this Russell House gang involved,
When they said these are the suspects and they showed all of the Russell House people, I was like, thank you. More shenanigans from Russell House. And even them with jokes pointing towards Russell House, I thought was funny as well too. And again, for the people who don't like Russell House, let's be very clear, their Impact Management it's very, very in the know that some people like it, some people don't, and that's fine because everything's not going to stick with everybody. But for me, not only do I enjoy it, but I also enjoy the fact that you're giving people screen time that may not have had anything going on. So I'm always happy to see people working, being able to grow their character. Exactly, the Deaners. The
Deaners are lucky to have a mechanism like Russell House / Who Shot Johnny Bravo. Yeah. Like they got on the board this train at the right time, because I'll tell you what, I think without this, nobody would still care about the Deaners.
Not at all. They are definitely trending in the right direction because of this thing. And that's fine because I think they got good ring work and good ring chemistry, but like the character is always like, I get the gimmick, but what you really selling? And that's what these segments are doing for them. Like it's working for them to a T. And I'll go to the next segment, even with Russell Talk. Locker Room Talk, excuse me, hosted by Madison, Rayne, and my boy Johnny Swinger. Johnny Swinger is another person where if you give him mic time in order to kind of do what he does, then you kind of see how he radiates. Madison Rayne doesn't necessarily need it because she has commentary, but you can see how she flourishes in that moment and how she could absolutely become a star if she wasn't already one within Russell. Keep on say Russell Talk, Locker Room Talk, because that's what these segments do. They elevate character development, and they either have you invest into a character, or maybe you don't like a character, but guess what? It still works because you're either supposed to like or you're supposed to dislike somebody. So there you have it. But going into locker room talk, I mean, we got to talk about the big news here. Madison Rayne stepping back in the ring next week, which is a thank you.
Yeah, no, and this is a good pairing. I mean, Tenille Dashwood is like this new coming of Madison Rayne, if you think about it. You know, if there was literally like a Beautiful People 2.0, how would Tenille Dashwood not be in it?
Ooh. I almost wanted to say, but I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to misspeak. But did you call this last week? I mean, we talked about the idea of getting Madison Rayne back involved, but was it? Well, I think you were saying that Tenille and Jordynne could work.
Yeah, and that's what they were going with. That's what they alluded to. This odd pairing, because we've seen it before. Two women who have faced each other that didn't like each other, who didn't have partners. And that was what Jordynne came across at first, saying, "Hey, you know, I think." You know, my partner is in this room, or the person that should be partnering with is in this room, and totally flew over to Neil's head. And she, you know, already seemed to have her sights set on Madison Rayne. So Jordynne Grace is still without a partner, but we do now have the pairing of Tenille Dashwood and Madison Rayne for the Knockouts tag title tournament coming up. And yeah, I think it's a great pairing. It really is. As far as personalities, skill level, as Tenille pointed out, you know, Madison's a 2-time Knockouts tag title holder, so you have the experience there. I mean, this could be a really great pairing.
Yeah. Now I'm just gonna say this right now, just because. They better not treat Madison Rayne like she's Alicia Edwards getting back into the ring, like she's just happy to be there.
Again, oh no, I think there's so much more with this dynamic with Tenille, and again, you know, I mean, I think they respect Madison's tenure with in Impact more. I really don't think so. I think with Alicia Edwards it's very different because her wrestling is more sparse and. At a different level. It's just at a different recognition level. Like I said, I think this is very much, you know, some of the old and the new coming together to the point where it's, you know, going to be a very, very interesting team dynamic. I could see them getting pretty far in the tournament.
I hoping so. I am with it. I hear you got some killers over there.
No, that's just my backup crew. They totally agree with me. They totally agree with me with that.
I didn't know we had money for sound bites in here. Like, dang, you got the
legit set up. I know some people, and it just you know, just connections.
Now let's talk to the fans really quick. Now, folks, that leaves Jordynne Grace without a partner. Do you want to see Jordynne Grace in this tournament? Would you rather her just stay away from it and continue on the singles run? If she does enter the tournament, who would you like to see her pair with? And I'm about to tell you somebody that no one would ever suggest. And this is somebody I've been a fan of for a while. I met once in person, and I think she is badass, legit, and I would just love to see her work more. And I think it makes sense on a couple of different scales as to why they should bring her in on this.
Okay.
And that's the Beast from WoW. She has only worked at WoW while also being on AXS TV, while also on this hiatus because of obviously the pandemic. But when you want to talk about somebody with a physique that standing next to Jordynne Grace looks probably the most dominating on paper and just visually tag team that we've seen in a while, that could be a game changer. Seeing the Beast next to Jordynne Grace. I don't know how Heaven and Earth can make this happen, but I'm gonna need Impact to call WoW, or I'm gonna just need AXS TV to just call a meeting, and let's get some of those women that's on that roster who aren't really wrestling right now. Let's get them in the Impact zone. Let's build that roster up just a little bit more. And another reason why I really think that this is an idea that's not far-fetched, if anybody's trying to call my bluff here, is let's look at what Impact is doing right now in New Japan with Chris Bay now entering the Super Junior, as well as TJP, which we can kind of talk about in a second, but these things are possible. And Impact, we talked to Scott D'Amore. Impact is open for business. They're willing to work with people. So I would love to see the Beast come in and partner with Jordynne Grace. And I think that would be a game changer. And now, while a lot of people don't know the Beast, but if you didn't watch WoW, I guarantee you will not be let down. And if they were to run some video packages to kind of get people acclimated with her, I mean, WoW does some of the best video the vignettes of all of wrestling. That's almost like it was them and Lucha Underground, you know, outside of the Big E, that when it comes down to vignettes, top tier. And I think all they need to do is chop up one really quick, put it on the board, and I think that would be enough to show you who was the the person who ran WoW for the last two seasons of their current iteration of WoW, shall I say. So that could be something. And if I'm not mistaken, really quick, I'm gonna hand it to you. I believe the Beast is the champion right now. I need to look that up.
Yeah, you know what? It's been a while, and you're right. Wow, Women of Wrestling has been on hiatus. It's not known when, and unfortunately, if they are coming back to television, that hasn't been released yet. But I just think that there's a lot of women out on the independent scene.
She is your champion, your WoW Women's champion. Yep.
So, there's a lot of opportunity for them also, because they're going to need some extra people. They don't have necessarily enough people on the current roster to fill out 8 teams. So, that they're going to probably have some people that they're going to come in, and this could be a great opportunity to showcase, some of the best in the independent scene. And we already know what they can do with the newer talent they've brought in.
Oh, I forgot I had our thing set up. Yeah, I forgot I had our graphics set up. But I would. I mean, definitely would check her out. Just to type that off for me. But you're right. Continue.
Oh no. Just to say that. I mean, we've already seen what they've done with Kimberly and Tasha Steelz, and even Nevaeh. Bringing in people that Deonna, of course, from the independent circuit to Impact, and having a nice place for them. So they have room to expand that women's division and bring in, some recurring faces. Who knows? But it looks like we're going to see, the establishment of teams for the Knockouts tag team titles coming out of the woodwork over the next few weeks as we head into Hard to Kill. So, I think that every week we're going to get some tidbits, and it's going to be more and more interesting.
Look, Dave McClain, Scott D'Amore, call each other, make it happen. And not to mention too, let's also not forget that the WoW recently, or not recently, but before the hiatus, they crowned their tag champions in Adrenaline and Fire, also known as Kiera Hogan and Diamante, who also are now other
split up in other promotions. Yeah. And I mean, I could throw this in there. I don't know what it is, but I think it was just recently where Allison Kay may no longer be working with NWA.
Ooh, you're right.
And she had her tenure at Impact. So maybe she comes back for a stint. There's talking about history, and we've seen a lot of people who've come through Impact previously come back to the company just over the past 4 or 5 months. So that could just be another name that floats out there that not too sure.
Good point. All right, we need to rush through some other matches really quick, because literally this is the talk of tonight's show. But quickly, as we're just going to go over the other stuff of the card. Yeah, Doc Gallows versus Ethan Page. I mean, sure. I mean, yeah, that happened. The Good Brothers are walking advertisement and merchandise. And
it's a little surprising you get the clean pin. Doc getting a clean pin over Ethan Page, who is one half of your tag champions. So, what it is, I'm a little confused.
Doc Gallows' contract must say is that I need my character to be everything it wasn't a couple of months ago. He got
that sweet Hall and Nash kind of deal, just like what.
he's getting the hot tag. He's getting clean pins. He's not the one always being knocked out the ring. Like I don't even know who he is anymore. We got to talk about Rohit Raju now. Now, obviously, he had his defeat Rohit challenge, which has been gimmicky. But today, TJP comes out, and this got hot. Both good mic and promo work from the two.
Figuratively and literally.
True that.
He's spilling that tea.
True that. Yeah, I love this segment. But what I love the most about it is I expect that from TJP, because you get it on his Twitter all the time anyway. But Rohit is turning the corner just a little bit from this little gimmicky character running away sleazeball to like I can beat you for real. And no one gave me a chance, including myself. I definitely didn't. Miranda definitely had your back, Rohit. We'll keep it 100. But I'm loving it. I'm loving everything about it now. And I love where this story arc with him has taken me over the last few months. And now him turning the corner a little bit with the aggression. I will, first of all, I hope he clean pins TJP. And I hope that's the vision here. I hope they don't do anything to really devalue all the hard work that's been being put into the character now. And I think this promo literally solidified everything for me. Is about the doubts that he was on no one's top list. No one's looking for him or anything like that. Now he's the champion. He legit can work, and it's true. So I love this segment. I love what's going on. What's going on with him and the character. I hope there's a win here, but nonetheless, this is definitely one of the defining moments in Rohit's current reign to me. Is this promo with TJP?
Yeah, I think that you're right in the sense that, of course, we get to see TJP more one-on-one. We've seen him as part of the tag team with Falaba for quite some time, and over the past few months, we've seen him back just be him, working towards a next division title opportunity. And he's right as far as, where his career has taken him, how young he still is, and how far he has to go. But I do think that Rohit's kind of retort to that is very interesting, because I do think that he's talking from a sense of frustration of being overlooked and overshadowed, and mocked, and not getting the same opportunities and recognition as a TJP, and having to almost work twice as hard to get just half the amount of time and effort. So I also understand, like, for his philosophy of work smarter, not harder, if he can be more strategic, and what he's done already in his title defenses, and still retain, why not? Because everything that he was doing prior wasn't working. And he's doing what he needs to do to keep the title. So I think it's a really interesting dynamic. It is not so much this, scared heel. It's more someone who's using kind of their own narrative in order to justify their actions. And look, he don't own that anymore, okay? He's gone. He either does not own this. He does not own it. But I think it's good character work, something that's definitely getting me more and more intrigued in the reign of Rohit Raju, as to something that was kind of more comical and left you scratching your head when the win first happened, especially, taking it from Chris Bay to something that, makes more and more sense every week.
Yeah. Not to mention the person who yells out inclusion during their match. Actually, gimmick is really all about inclusion. The fact of him not getting opportunities and being overlooked and so on, and just wanting a fair chance, and one way or another, you're defining what that means. And I think that is crazy.
Yeah,
good writing or character work, however you want to call it. So Chris Bay and Trey Miguel. That was a good match. And Chris Bay is now looking to step out of the X division, because he had word for Rich Swann where he wants to get up in that title picture. So we'll see where that goes from there. You had the main event where Rich Swann, Eddie Edwards versus Eric Young, Sami Callihan, along with Ken Shamrock, where the bad guys won. this was a match that was just kind of like gimmicky, and it worked. It was good, good match to kind of end off the night or whatever. But I think what's more important here is the looks amongst the heels here.
Yes, that last few seconds. That is, I mean, no pun intended, a dangerous alliance. Legit. Yeah. 3 crazy, dangerous, just
they
focused.
They respect each other just by looks. They just
yes, exactly. And they all have their vision. They respect what the other does and how they do it. Any means necessary. They all have the same philosophy. Yeah. So I mean that too. I mean, when you have all these individuals together, I mean, Ken Shamrock, literally, one of the world's most dangerous men, has made a career of breaking people.
Hall of
Famer. Sami Callihan, who has also made a career of doing exactly what he wants by any means necessary, whoever it damages and hurts, and now posting it on the socials for all the world to see. And Eric Young, who is now back at Impact, ready to make a statement, to make a stand, to take what he believes is rightfully his, by whatever means he can. It doesn't matter who he hurts, how many times he hurts them. It was interesting to have all these 3 like-minded individuals look at each other, understand, and possibly we see an alliance for at least the immediate future, and that puts a lot of other people in jeopardy. Like that, I would be nervous if that's in my locker room.
Yeah, I mean, and then I'll just add quickly is this, that you got 2 legit mouthpieces here, and considering that all the accolades amongst this and them all being together, it's just kind of limitless as to ideas what you can do with it. But it is very dangerous. It's very scary, and they're going to be off the chain. So I'm definitely curious to see how that's going to all go. And and at the same time too, imagine Sami Callihan being able to be imposing without actually having to talk. He always has to talk to like kind of, project his intent. But if Eric Young is the one doing it for him, I mean, that's kind of scary thinking that Sami Callihan could be like the underdog, or I won't say the underdog, but like what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't know. I'm looking for some word, but like he could be like the stealth person within the group, where like it's like you don't know what he's going to do, and he's just there, like the wild card, shall I say? So like it could be crazy. We're definitely going to see where that goes in the future. And also I got to say too, this also definitely protects Ken Shamrock, who you don't need to be working and being active each and every week. Him standing there is enough. Yeah. And his intensity can always be cut on. And while Sami Callihan's usually the one cutting it on for Ken, what about if Eric Young ever does it? I mean, there was a nod to all of them. There was a lot of respect there.
Yeah.
And I just think it's going to be crazy. But last thing I just want to say really quick is that obviously with Moose comes out, really slow promo, but I guess he had some things he had to say, whatever. But Moose also setting his eyes on Rich Swann. Now Rich Swann has 4 people.
Right. He has target after target after target, and he's just dancing around like, I don't know. There's this element of this title reign that I don't take seriously because of the fact that I don't know if he takes his reign seriously. Ooh. I mean, you literally have threats coming from all sides, and it's more of this happy-go-lucky, which is part of Rich Swann's character that I understand. But you literally have sharks in the water, and they smell blood. Like they know that. And they could be even relying on that, that Moose could be relying on a distraction from Eric Young to make his move, or Eric Young may rely on a distraction from Moose to make his move, So I mean, like, to me, like, this is definitely some of the biggest threats that any champion has faced in quite some time. And I just don't see Rich Swann taking it that seriously. And to me, that kind of worries me, not to say that he shouldn't feel confident in his reign. I think confidence is one thing, but, not kind of almost ignoring it doesn't help either.
Yeah, I mean, it would almost be like, the idea of like, oh, I know there's sharks out there, but I'll just completely cover myself in blood and I'll be okay. Yeah, the ignorance factor. But hey, look, I'll just say for the sake of time that there's a lot of room potentially for them to tell a story that's going to get us invested here. But right now, it's kind of like, oh, poor Swann. He's like that Yorkie in the ocean when the Meg was coming after him.
Oh yeah, he had no idea. But he knows. Like, that's the thing. He knows. I mean, he's literally been seeing that for now the past 2 weeks. So he knows. He's just choosing. Yes, and Chris Bay, which
I mean,
yeah, I mean, he brushed Chris Bay off, which too, I mean, you don't underestimate Chris Bay.
Not at all.
I mean, he's been here long enough to know how some of these things work and how to kind of maneuver yourself in a position to be at the right place at the right time. So yeah, now you have 3+. You never know who else is going to be coming from the woodwork, and he's just kind of dancing around with not a care in the world. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Well, folks, that will do it for our review tonight of Impact on AXS TV. Again, this is the December 3rd edition. Let us know in the comments what you thought about tonight's episode. There's a lot of questions we have, so definitely, if you have any, definitely shoot us in the comments, and we will definitely get our best to getting those and answer them next week. And we definitely participate. We definitely are grateful for your participation.
Yes, very much.
I always get all my words messed up.
And you know what? It's late. It's a long day. Yeah. We just finished watching Impact. Yeah. We know it's going to be long. So yes, let us know your thoughts in the comment section, things you liked about the show, maybe some things you didn't like, maybe some of the things we talked about today, like who else you may want to see in the Knockouts Tag Tournament. What are your thoughts on Rich Swann as champion, Rohit Raju as X Division champion, and flexing some of his muscle, the Wrestle House cast and the Who Shot Johnny Bravo story. There's so much. Yeah, Scott D'Amore and his role, as this leadership authority.
Scott did it.
Yeah,
Scott shot him.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's just so pissed off at all these wrestlers that he's just like, God dang, these wrestlers. He just did it out of spite. But yeah, let us know your comments below. Let us know your thoughts. And make sure you tune in next week because we do this whole thing again.
That's right. And I'm going to end the show off by saying much love again to Kylie Ray. We hope to see you back in the ring at some point. But if not, then thank you for everything you've done for us as fans. It's just being a pure entertaining, one of the best to do it. And that'll do it this week, everybody. We'll see you next week.
I do this.